Hey everybody, what's going on? I am Gregg Sussman, joined today by Jim Sonis of FanDuel. Hey Jim, it's the final time we're talking about six players. How do you feel?
I'm glad we have six, Greg, because we have a lot of good options for tonight's slate. Like, I could have talked six pitchers on this slate, and that's a very legitimate number. Like, there are three dudes below 9,000, three dudes above 10 or above 9,000. So I could have gone six pitchers deep. So I'm happy to have this while we still do, and cherishing the final chances to get to talk about the Twins, of course, and Brandon Woodruff. What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely nothing. We'll get to Brandon Woodruff in just a moment, but first, we will begin with your highest price pitcher, someone that is not under 9,000. In fact, he's above 11,000. Not only that, he is the highest priced player on the board tonight at FanDuel. It's Jacob deGrom, 11,200. I guess you're not worried about a blister.
It sounds like he's not worried about it, and I tend to trust Jacob deGrom more on these things than I trust myself. But I think if you are worried about the blister for Jacob deGrom, you want to go Sonny Gray in cash games. I think that Gray is the number one cash game pitcher on this slate because, you know, the blister is at least a slight concern from a cash game perspective. Gray has an amazing match with the Pirates, but the reason I prefer Jacob deGrom in tournaments is because he has a higher strikeout matchup. He is facing the Phillies a 24% strikeout rate versus righties since the start of last year, whereas Gray is facing the Pirates. We're at 21%. That does help to have that 3 percentage point gap in strikeout rate for the opponent. deGrom has also been disgusting this year. Not that he needed a velocity increase, but he's up 1.8 miles per hour on his four-seamer from last year to 99.0 miles per hour on average this year. That's gross. 18.5% swinging strike rate, which means his 33% strikeout rate is good, but it actually could go up from where it currently is, which is just nuts to think about. That could happen tonight, facing the Phillies. Again, I want to go Sonny Gray in cash games because no finger issue for him. He is at home facing a lesser team, but deGrom, I think, has the higher true ceiling. So I want to go Jacob deGrom, number one in tournaments for tonight. I think there is enough value at hitter to make him pretty easy to afford. So despite the blister issue, Jacob deGrom, my number one tournament pitcher for tonight.
It's funny that the highest priced pitcher on the board is almost contrarian in a way because of Sonny Gray's matchup with Pittsburgh here. But that's what deGrom is. He does have those lingering issues with the blister, but that strikeout rate, the fact that he can go up is crazy. The fact that he's become even better after the last 2 years is crazy. deGrom against Philadelphia, a team that does strike out quite a bit, really in a good spot tonight. 11,200, but worth it, potentially. If you don't want to spend all the way up to pitcher, you don't want to go up to Jacob deGrom or Garrett Cole or Sonny Gray, you can go with Brandon Woodruff. As you said, what can go wrong again with Brandon Woodruff tonight, facing off against the Chicago Cubs, who, of course, is only one of the best teams, the best team in baseball. What can go wrong?
Exactly. What can go wrong? Could be totally fine. But I think with Brandon Woodruff, the upside is enough to justify the risk associated with him. And Woodruff, he seems like he's just been this underappreciated ace for almost an entire year now because he had a 29% strikeout rate last year. It's gone up to 31% so far this year, but his salary never budges. He has $8,400 once again for today. And the Cubs, as mentioned, are very good. And they're playing awesome baseball right now. But Chris Bryant was scratched last night. That means that they could potentially be a lesser form of themselves for today. That's a huge thing for Brandon Woodruff. And I think that if Bryant sits, we definitely bump him up for sure. So Woodruff, good in that respect. We also saw him get 10 strikeouts this year on the road against the Pirates. And that's key because the Pirates, as mentioned, a lower strikeout team, and that game occurred on the road. Last year, Woodruff had pretty aggressive home road splits where his strikeout rate would dip about like 10 percentage points when he went on the road. Now, doing work against the Pirates does not mean you can do work on the road against the Cubs, but potentially with no fans in the stands, maybe Woodruff feels more comfortable pitching on the road this year. He showed that 10 strikeout upside. He's had at least 10 strikeouts 3 times in his past 15 starts. Overall, a 30% strikeout rate in that time when he's been leaning more on his sinker. So I think that Brandon Woodruff has tremendous upside, an upside you don't usually see out of pitchers in this salary range. So I'm going to keep on going to Brandon Woodruff despite the concerns around the matchup, despite the concerns around the home road splits, especially if Chris Bryant does wind up sitting. I think if you want other value options, Tyler Chatwood, maybe again. We'll see what happens. But also Frankie Montas, who has not gotten -5 FanDuel points within his past 3 starts. So I think that 3 options down here, Woodruff, Montas, and Chatwood. My favorite of that bunch, though, all things considered, will be Brandon Woodruff.
I think the home road split's obviously very different this year where there isn't a crowd, where he's not as stark of a difference this season compared to last. Tyler Chatwood, I actually just picked up in season long because why not? Wait, what's the worst that can happen? We've already seen that. So it's only up from here. And Frankie Montas obviously has been good most of the season. The fact that the price isn't rising on Brandon Woodruff and all the other reasons that Jim mentioned make him a prime start today on FanDuel if you don't want to pay up. Now, if I looked at this slate just completely blindly, and I knew that the Rangers were playing in Colorado today, I could have locked Joey Gallo in there with my eyes closed. Thankfully, you did it for me.
Yeah, Joey Gallo doesn't really need Coors Field to crush, but it probably can't hurt, right, to put him out there. We're not exactly – Joey Gallo's not exactly a warning track power type of guy, but, it can't hurt to be out in Coors Field. And what's interesting about Gallo, and we haven't really noticed this recently because – the results have been pretty spotty, but he might be trimming his strikeout rate a bit, at least against righties. Through 38 plate appearances versus righties this year, Gallo's strikeout rate is 24%. Now, that is a small sample, but if you look at stabilization rates over on FanGraphs, they say it takes 60 plate appearances for a strikeout rate to stabilize. And Gallo is over halfway there, about 67% of the way. So it's not insignificant that his strikeout rate is 24% versus righties through 38 plate appearances. He's still making hard contact. He's still putting the ball in the air. So I think the results and the power are going to snap into place for Joey Gallo very quickly, and it could very well be this weekend as he plays at Coors Field. I think that both Gallo and Shin-Soo Choo are cheaper than they should be, given that this game is at Coors Field. You could have Gallo at $4,000 in Texas. Choo is usually around $32 in Texas, so I do like that. Willie Calhoun, another guy with better results than peripherals. So going back there once again, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has been batting second against righties, or at least he did their most recent time. So the Rangers willing to steal bases. They've got some power. They've got some guys who I think have salaries lower than they should be. I think that they deserve to be in your stacking echelon for tonight. And Joey Gallo, the first guy you want to try to jam in there.
Joey Gallo improving strikeout rate is scary for the rest of the league. We'll see if it sustains. But in Colorado, we know that warning track power does not exist for Joey Gallo on a normal day. In Colorado, it's going to be out of stadium power. Gallo at $4,000, a little underpriced according to Jim, which makes him well worth getting into your lineups. Also spending up tonight quite a bit at the hitter position because just a little bit less than that is Jose Ramirez. He's in Detroit tonight. Not exactly a stadium where you would want to target. So why are you going after Jose Ramirez here for an expensive price of $3,800?
Yeah, I do think it helps a lot that this is during the summer with Detroit because you look at the park factors for the full season for Detroit, it tends to be pretty bad, but that also includes April when it tends to be very cold in Detroit. So they do benefit from playing this game in August versus earlier in the year. And Jose Ramirez is one of the few Cleveland batters who doesn't suck right now. So I think we can go here facing Ivan Nova. Nova, low strikeout guy, and the way he's gotten by in the past, or at least relatively gotten by with an ERA under 5, is that he's gotten ground balls and limited hard contact. Those things aren't happening as much this year. The ground balls are still there, but the hard contact is really high. And when you allow a lot of balls in play, and some of them are hard hits, it doesn't matter what your ground ball rate is. You're probably going to run into pretty serious issues, which is what has happened to Nova so far this year. So I do want to stack Cleveland, even though their offense has been just really bad. They have a 68 WRC plus to open the season. That's just hideous. But Ramirez, one of the guys who has been okay against righties this year, 36% hard hit rate, 50% fly ball rate, and a 21% strikeout rate. He can add some steals to the equation as well. So I think that with the situation where Cleveland is facing a lower strikeout pitcher, they're in a better offensive environment in Detroit than you usually get at that stadium, and Ramirez actually playing well himself, I think that they do work as a stack for tonight. It is risky because, again, they've been putrid to start the year, and it's been a long enough sample where that is a major concern, but I would not be shocked if they right the ship tonight, especially with Ramirez at $3,800.
It's a price you can't ignore for Jose Ramirez here, $3,800. I am surprised we haven't even mentioned Willie Calhoun at $3,300. That's one of your boys in Colorado tonight. But nevertheless, Jose Ramirez, from positions than Willie Calhoun, a little bit better than Willie Calhoun. Let's trust him tonight in Detroit. Moving away from both Joey Gallo, Willie Calhoun, and Jose Ramirez, we're getting to your boy, Jorge Polanco. He's $2,800 for the Twinkies. And I always wonder whenever we do this, Jim, which twin we're going to talk about today. And today we're getting to Jorge Polanco, Polanco, $2,800 tonight over on FanDuel.
I would love to stop talking about the Twins, Greg, but they keep giving me value options on this team, and they're with the offense, the way it's playing, it's hard not to go back. So I would love to quit the Twins. But as Jake Gyllenhaal said, I just don't know how to quit them right now. Jorge Polanco is the value play of the day, $2,800. And against righties since the start of last year, he has a 37% hard hit rate, a 45% fly ball rate, and a 15% strikeout rate. With Polanco's stature, you don't expect him to be the super high fly ball guy, but he has been exactly that. $2,800, likely to bat near the top of the order. And facing Jacob Junis is more than happy to allow a lot of hard contact. This Twins team did just see him last week. And Junis left after 4 2/3, did allow a couple of home runs in that game. So he'll allow hard contact. The Twins will supply it, and Polanco is likely to bat high in the order for just $2,800 with really good peripherals against righties. The good thing about this Twins team from a stacking perspective is I think they've got guys in every salary tier. If you are going with Woodruff, Montas, or Chatwood as your pitch, you can go with Nelson Cruz, Eddie Rosario, or Max Kepler. But if you need value, you've got Polanco. You've got Marwin Gonzalez. You've also got Mitch Garver in there, Miguel Sano. You've got options in each salary tier. So they're an ideal team for stacking. You can use the value plays to afford guys like Nelson Cruz, and I definitely like that. And, of course, Byron Buxton guaranteed 6 home runs tonight, too. That doesn't hurt either. So the Twins, I want to go away, but they just keep on giving them to me for good salary. So why not go on back one more time tonight?
For the record, and I counted, Jim named 9 different Twins that you were able to start tonight in this game. He went down the entire lineup and said you can start every single one, depending on which pitcher you have, what salaries you need to be able to fit in there. The Twins have them all, from Nelson Cruz all the way down to Jorge Polanco. All good start tonight for the Minnesota Twins. Yeah, there is one more value play that, well, is even cheaper than Jorge Polanco, and that's Aaron Hicks. He's just a couple $100 cheaper, $2,700, so $100 cheaper for the Yankees, facing off against Boston tonight. Hicks gets on base a lot, doesn't necessarily hit the ball a lot, but he does get on base quite a bit. Tonight, hopefully he runs into one.
Yeah, and I think there's a good chance that does happen, Greg. And the reason that I want to go with Aaron Hicks here for this spot is because we don't know what kind of pitcher the Yankees are going to face. The Red Sox are going to the bullpen game, which means they could go righty, they could go lefty, but Aaron Hicks being a switch hitter I think is beneficial here because he can hit guys with both-handedness pretty well. And like you said, we haven't really seen the power so far this year, but you look at his numbers, he is lifting the ball, he is making solid contact, so he's also not striking out a whole lot. When we're looking at numbers in such a small sample, I want to focus on strikeout rate and walk rate and make sure these guys are seeing the ball well. Even if they're taking a crazy amount of walks, like, I mean, I used Rhys Hoskins like a couple nights ago. Like, obviously, like, this isn't always going to work out, but it means that they're seeing the ball well. And with Aaron Hicks, I think that's a pretty major plus, and it tells me that he's probably going to lock in at some point here in the pretty near future. So I think that Aaron Hicks at $2,700, switch hitter facing a Red Sox bullpen that could be a total disaster. I think that definitely does line up well. But honestly, like, the Yankees are another team where you can get a lot of value here. If you're okay passing up DJ LeMahieu and Aaron Judge, everyone else on this team is $3,100 or lower. Aaron Hicks, I think, is my favorite option within there, but Gleyber Torres, again, another rough start to the season, but he's not striking out a whole lot and making decent contact. He's $2,700 as well, probably going to bat fifth. Luke Voigt is $3,100. I want hitters who can hit both righties and lefties, and most of the guys in this Yankees lineup can do so. None better than Hicks, the switch hitter, so I'll put him at the top of this list. But overall, the Yankees, a team you want to monitor, even though we don't have any idea who they're facing tonight.
We don't know who they're facing, but we do know it's on that awful Boston pitching staff. So the bullpen game for the Red Sox should be beneficiary to the New York Yankees. And notice Jim did not name 9 Yankees there. He only named a few. It was 9 Twins. He missed out on Gio Urshela and Clint Frazier, but that's okay. We'll forgive you, Jim. Certainly Aaron Hicks on our list tonight and very fairly priced at $2,700 on FanDuel. There you have it. Those are the 6 picks that are going to win you money tonight on FanDuel. Jim, we appreciate the time. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, Greg. Same to you. I'm looking forward to talking some NFL with you on Monday.
It is finally NFL time. It's weird. There hasn't just been any practices or anything. There's no real news. So we're going to try to just sift through all the coach speak, all the nonsense, and try to find some winning draft picks starting next week right here on the Hurry Up. For Jim Sonis, I'm Gregg Sussman. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the games tonight. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you back here Monday for another edition of the FanDuel Hurry Up.